Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tales from the Bar, a podcast hosted by me, Jen Noga, featuring awesome and cool and interesting people like today's guest, Sophia. You may know her from Bar Buddies vlog. I think it was episode 4 when we went to Stand Hewitt, and we had a really fun day. So, Sophia, I ask everybody, can introduce yourself. You could use your name, your date of birth, the last 4 digits of your social security number, the last 3 digits on the back of your credit card. Up to you what personal identity stealing information you'd like to give out, and the floor is yours.
Okay, well, I don't know what's more, scary, giving away my birthday so people can do my birth chart, or giving away my social security number so they can steal my identity. I can't really tell. But if anyone wants to do my birth chart, my birthday's March 12th, so it's coming up.
Oh, yeah, that is
Pisces
true.
Squad.
Pisces Squad. Mine is, oh my God, mine is...
When's your birthday? Your birthday's coming up, right?
10 days. 10
Hang
days.
on. I can't do math, so...
The 20th.
Oh, the 20th. Okay, thank you. It's February 10th, and you said 10 days, and I'm like, hang on, I have to do 7.
You're like math?
And then 3.
You're like... It's okay.
I literally just woke up 2 hours ago, and I just had a fight with my brother, so...
Oh, yeah, no, I was like, with mine, I was like, hey, not to be talk, TikTok, but you're hogging the bathroom, and it's time to move on.
It is time to move on. I just really like your camera, by the way.
Thank you.
It's just it's so nice. Has a nice not blurry. It's nice depth of field. Is it your Sony?
Yeah, it is my Sony. It's an amazing camera. The only, literally the only con to it is that the battery life is 45 minutes on continuous shooting. It's
Are you serious?
Ass battery, but I'm waiting for my Amazon package to come today, but I have a portable bank that works with it, so hopefully I can keep that on while it's doing its thing.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers are crossed, but I like to keep my interviews around 45 minutes anyways, because that's about as long as I can stand in my transcribing program before I hate the sound of my own voice. So...
I had, there was one time I had to do an interview, and it was a 2-hour-long interview, and I'm like, I am not transcribing this, because it was for one of my journalism classes, and I put it off until, the day it was due, and then I transcribed a whole 2-hour interview, and it was very miserable. I hated it.
It's not my favorite thing to do in the world, but I want to make sure that all my content is as accessible as it can be to everybody. So,
right.
I gotta close caption that shit, and ugh.
Mm-hmm. I'm so enthralled just by looking at you right now, and then just seeing, your beautiful backdrop. Meanwhile, I have, a photo or, a painting from Italy that I got. My mom's, dollhouse wallpaper-ish.
It's cute, though.
It is cute, but it's, yours is cuter.
It's just covered in a lot of, fake greenery, I think. Is what really adds to it. Plus, we have George the cat. He's just chilling back over here. Let me see if I can't. There he is.
So precious.
He's just.
He had a little bed.
He has a bed, which he normally sleeps in, and then he's got my bed, which he almost always sleeps in. I didn't realize you could still see this, so we're just gonna move that. Don't look at the man behind the curtain. My floor is a mess because I had to move everything from my desk to my bed and the floor because I got too much stuff and I live in a sardine can still.
Yeah, I feel that. No, I'm at my parents' house right now in Columbus. I probably shouldn't have said that. I don't want people
I'll redact it. I'll
me.
redact it. I'll put that beep noise in there.
Bleep. At least I didn't say where. Where in said location. Man, my iPad. So I got an iPad. I bought myself an iPad because I wanted to learn how to digitally draw. Oh my gosh, I am popular today.
Every time I go to do record something, and then all of my everybody decides that that's when they want to text me. and then my earphones are up really loud because I can't hear for shit because, subtitles in real life aren't a thing.
Right.
And so then it's like blasting in my ear, and then my computer is freezing. So I have my dad's. So now everything, my do not disturb stays on, and now everything goes through my dad's mixing board that I have temporarily misappropriated. With his permission, I didn't actually steal it. But
that's so funny.
I got a microphone and an arm attached to this thing. It's a legit setup now. Like,
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, look at you. I'm so proud of you.
Thank
That's so
you.
awesome, Jen. Oh.
Especially because I was like, when was the last time I made a podcast? And it was like 6 months ago.
Yeah, it's been a while. I've been like whenever you put stuff out, I've been like watching it because I'm just like, oh, I love it.
I said, what can I hoard content wise so when I feel really depressed that I can just give it out.
Right.
I'm running low though. I need to film stuff while I'm on
You're
a
like, I
on a
need
high.
content.
Yeah, I was like, I need to film content, but then I'm like, I don't know what to film. But I was like, I wanted to test out this new setup before I go in and be like, hey guys, so I'm not actually dead. I just have depression, and then that turned into bipolar disorder. So, what's up?
Yeah, you're like, what's up?
Hello, I'm not dead. I'm just swinging along. But
And the weather's not helping either.
No.
The weather, like, oh my gosh, my mood and like my mental health, like it's like plummeted. It was peaking for a while, and then it like went down.
Yeah.
And now I'm like kind of at this plateau / rut.
Do you guys have a lot of snow in Columbus right now?
Well, yeah, we got 4 inches the other night, and we also had like more snow on the ground already. Like we already like a bunch of ice, and
Yeah.
I'm so sick of it. The only time it should be snowing is November 1st to January 1st, and that's it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
No more.
I'm tired of having a birthday in the winter. I'm sick of it.
So my birthday, it's so odd because it's technically in winter, but it has like spring like weather.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's very moody, and I'm moody, so I think I was born at like an ideal time, which like depicts my personality.
Sometimes in the middle of February, you will get that odd, like 50 degree
72
day.
degree weather day.
That happened on my birthday, my freshman year at Kent.
That's so funny.
And I was like, I'm so depressed, but at least I could sit outside. Because I didn't even celebrate. I didn't really celebrate my birthday up until I turned 20. So, I was like, I'm not doing anything. And they're like, oh my God, it's your birthday. And I was like, yeah, and?
You're like, let's go out.
I said, but now, so I celebrated 20, and then I got 21 right in there. Right in there before the pandemic, and for 22, I think I'm just going to go to bed early, which is ideally what I wanted to do for 21, but everyone was like, you got to go to the bars. And I was like, but I'm a lightweight, right? I'm a lightweight, and I'm cheap, and I only have one drink that I like, which is a Dirty Shirley. So...
What's a Dirty Shirley? I've never had it before.
Have you ever had a Shirley Temple?
Yes, I love Shirley Temples.
You just put vodka in it.
Ooh, wait, that sounds so good.
My philosophy is if you can taste the alcohol, you're doing it wrong.
That is true.
That's the only way that I like things. I only like coffee if I can't taste the coffee. Same thing with like if I can taste the base flavor, you're doing it wrong.
Right. Someone said that my personality aligns with the strawberry daiquiri. Fun and flirty at first, but hard and dangerous once you have too many.
Yeah, I can see it. I could definitely see it.
I'm like, yeah, I think I can see it too. It was just so funny and out of the blue because I'm like, wait, I can align like an alcoholic beverage with the personality. So I like in my head I was like going through all the people I knew and assigning them like mixed drinks or beer.
Mine is the Dirty Shirley. I am the epitome of it, a child, but then sometimes there's an added spike of alcohol. But I can't drink anymore, so I've
Wait, you
been,
can't drink anymore, like, period,
yeah,
or?
like period for right now because of the meds I'm on. So I've been sober for
Oh,
almost a year, which is interesting. Not that it's ever really been a problem, but
right.
and I'm like, yeah, I've been sober for a year. Everyone's like, are you like okay? And I was like, yeah. I was like, some of us just don't need to drink during the pandemic to forget our problems. I just spend money I don't have.
Honestly, the same.
That's what I'm doing. Let's look at my DoorDash. At the beginning of the pandemic, it was Webkins.
Oh, Webkins, that's
Yeah,
still a thing?
yeah. The new version though, I can't do
It
it.
sucks.
So it. They look too realistic because Flash games stopped, and then now it's all three. It's just ugh.
Ew,
Eh.
that's creepy.
And recently, when I get on like an episode, I'm like on Etsy, so I'm buying things I definitely don't need.
Oh my gosh, Etsy's been kind of like my store of choice lately, and actually it reminds me I gotta go on there and get something today.
Well, so one of the things that I got these little apothecary stickers, because I was like, oh, I thought they were cute, and then I was like, oh, like I want to know why these plants are the way that they are, and so now it turned into buying a bunch of digital download workbooks about plants, and I have 4 actual books coming on the way, plus a huge stack of library books down here
Wow.
about witchcraft and herbalism and
Oh,
apothecariness
that's so awesome though.
because I'm having a hard time finding a job. So I was like, maybe I'll just course correct since I'm not doing the college thing right now.
Right.
I'll just course correct later.
So like how's been, you know, how's the job search going, and kind of adjusting to this like new normal you're doing?
The job search sucks. It sucks. It
Oh, you're
sucks.
telling me.
Because I have 2 skill sets: content creation and proofreading, both of
Hmm.
which are highly useful, but the market I think is oversaturated with people our age who can do both of those things.
Right.
So I apply to like a bunch of jobs and then I don't hear back from them. So like it's the worst kind of rejection because I never know. Like out of the 80 jobs that I've applied for, I've only heard back from 4 employers, which is pretty good
Yeah.
odds.
I just got an email yesterday of an internship that I applied for last March saying that thank you for applying, but we've moved on with a different candidate. And I was like,
How long did it take you to decide on an applicant, man?
I have no idea. I was like, okay, bye, thank you. Like,
Because
yeah.
I'm on Indeed, so the job filtering is like hit or miss. Because they're like, this is a full time position, but we're not going to pay you anything.
Yeah, and then also like there's so much scams, like job scams. Like I've like had 5 so far
Yeah,
where it was just like it just didn't feel right. Like they were like, oh, like basically like it sounded so good to be true
yeah.
that I'm like, this is totally a scam. And
If
then like I had like this freelance thing, like somebody like reached out and asked if I wanted to do like this freelance thing for like a really well known magazine. And just the way I was corresponding with this person, I was just like, this doesn't seem legit. And then like I looked at the contract because like I was going to be paid like a good sum of money. And in the contract they were like, you have to pay the models and the makeup artists. And I was like, wait, but I thought you guys were covering it. So I just gave him a bullshit lie and said, sorry, I just accepted the job.
that's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all they're internships, and if you don't pay your interns, that shit is illegal. It should be. It should be illegal, and
It
it's
should be
criminal.
illegal.
It's criminal, and you should not be doing it.
It's
Because
honestly like
you're asking somebody to
I
do a
just
full
it's
time
just
job
not working.
for college credit. That
Mhm.
college credit and experience is not going to pay my bills. I
Right.
just made my first student loan payment this morning.
How was
Experience.
that?
Oh my god, that's what kept me up all night.
Yeah, there was I don't know what happened. So like I got like a part of my student loans back, and then the other part, like, my dad and I were trying to look for it, and we can't find it anywhere. And we're like they're only charging me like one amount, like it's like 1/3 of the amount of how much like I owe. And I'm like, where did the rest of my student loans go? Like, and I'm just gonna be like, did Daddy Biden do it? Because
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
Did they, well, when I was, because did you have to do loan exit counseling through Kent?
So I still have to do that, and that's where I was like trying to think. I was like, you know what? Maybe because I haven't done that yet, maybe that's why they're withholding the loan.
Well, I knew who my creditor was, or like my loan, whoever, because it's in Oklahoma or whatever. Because I've been getting emails about it.
Out in Oklahoma.
I don't know. And
I don't understand.
I don't understand either. But I was like, okay, it's one of the so I did my exit counseling, and then I was like, okay, I have a pretty good payment plan, and if I throw some money at it now, like I have 6 months of grace, but I was like, if I throw some money at it now, and I can get down some of that interest before I have to like really start being on time. But it's like that kept me up all night, and then like I got a rejection email right after, and I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I was like, it kept me up all night because I was like, I was like playing worst case scenario, and then I was like, but you're fine because right now everything that I'm getting from unemployment is going straight into savings. But that runs out pretty soon, so unless Daddy Biden is gonna wipe my student loans, I'll do you remember the Fyre Fest documentary?
So actually, Sarah and David and we were talking about this the other day. I have not seen it, but I know like what happened just from the news articles that I read and just talking with them about Fyre Fest. That's so funny that you mentioned it.
So the Netflix one, they talked to one of the guys on the team, and he was basically like, you need to go to the guy in customs. So the main guy, Bobby or whatever his fucking name is, was like, you need to go to customs and you need to get these cases of water across, and he was like, suck some dick if you have to. And so the guy that they're interviewing, they're like, I went in fully prepared to suck this guy's dick. And I was like, that sentiment, not that I would do that, but that sentiment is like where I'm at for student loan forgiveness right now. I'm like, I will do what I must. I'll take one for the team. I will take one for the team. I'll be a team player.
Yeah, I think that's what they mentioned. Sorry, I was drinking my drink of choice water. Staying hydrated.
Hydration is key.
What'd you said?
Hydration is key.
Yeah, my skin's been really dry lately, and it's because I haven't been drinking a lot of water. So
same. And I have my humidifier up here.
Ooh, it's glowing.
I know.
Now I'm like focused on you, and then when I see you, I see the humidifier. It's just like it's like a nice pathway.
I know.
I forget what I was gonna say. Yeah, just that Fyre Fest thing, like that was just crazy to me. Like, I feel horrible for the people that had to endure that, but
also at the same time, I don't feel that bad.
You don't feel that bad?
I feel a little bad, but like I don't feel that bad because if you had enough money to pay for a ticket,
true,
then I don't feel that bad. Yeah. Like I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it sucks. It's like the rich people's version of DashCon from Tumblr, but I don't necessarily feel like I'm like, oh, poor baby. Like,
right.
Now you understand how the rest of us live.
Yeah, like poverty, like people in refugee camps and...
Plus, nobody got paid. Not a single person got paid.
No one got paid?
No one got paid. And that's why he's in jail.
Wait, by paid, like, did they not get, like, their refund back, or?
They didn't get their, I don't think they got a refund, but the people on the island that they hired to set everything up, they never got paid. Yeah. They never got paid. And I was like, oh my God.
They never got paid?
Never got paid.
Oh, that's fucked up. That's so messed up. I hope that guy's rotting in jail right now.
I
Like,
feel like
that's so messed up.
I think he's out on parole because, he's the
Rich.
white collar crime or whatever. Isn't that what it's called? White collar crime? If you're
What's like, there's like what? Blue collar,
collar,
white collar, black collar?
I know white
I
collar and I
don't know.
know blue collar, but other than that, I got
I wanna
nothing.
be I wanna be a purple collar worker.
Yeah. I want to be a worker in general.
I wanna be a worker.
I would
You're like, hire me.
please, please. Well, I applied to a bunch of places, like content creation wise. So like iHeartRadio, SiriusXM, some just random radio stations. And I was like,
Mhm.
please, I have a background. I know how to do things. I need a
Right.
job. Please. I can be remote. I can literally create podcasts for you or just like whatever. You tell me what
Mhm.
to say, I'll make it happen. Like whatever. Whatever you need me to do, I'll do it. Just please
Yeah.
pay me money.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm at that boat too. Like, it's like weird because I feel like I've been applying for jobs, but then like I just get discouraged and then I take like a week off
Yeah,
or two.
and then you're like, "Oh my God, I missed all these jobs." Like today, I was like, "I'm not going to look at Indeed." Like I'm not going to do it. And then now I'm like, "Oh my God, I need to I haven't checked Indeed. Like they're still sending me notifications. Like I need to check
Right.
it." And I was like, "God, I think I spend more time on Indeed than I do on TikTok."
That was me like last April and May
I spend
trying
more
to find a
time,
job.
yeah. Now that I think about it, I spend more time searching for jobs on Indeed than I do scrolling through TikTok. And I scroll through TikTok a lot.
What? Okay, so I like posted on my Snap. I mean, you saw it and you respond about um, if I should get a TikTok for my business. And I have like my reservations. They're more personal though, just because like I just don't know if I'll like get addicted to it. Like I'm already addicted to like all my other social media. I don't know, like I've just heard like I mean I've heard good and bad things about TikTok, but I don't know, what are your thoughts like in regard to like getting seen, getting awareness about like your brand and like not brand, but like what you do and what you can provide to people.
Well, I think of everything that you do online as like your brand, right? Like so Bar Buddies is my brand right now, right? Like my personal brand is just what like me as Jen Noga is my brand is chaos, right? Like clutter, like controlled chaos, but me as Bar Buddies is a brand because I'm
Mhm.
trying to sell you something, which is I'm trying to sell you on me in my content.
Mhm.
So I don't really talk. I've noticed that when I post about my YouTube videos on TikTok, those don't really get a lot of numbers. Mostly because, and one of the things you'll figure out very quickly on TikTok is that the algorithm is just, it changes constantly. So there's really no way to predict what you're gonna get when
Mhm.
you get it. But
Okay.
sometimes when I do something really dumb, like I made a coming out of the closet or going back into the closet joke that went viral.
Mhm.
And then I was like, I'm simping for a man who plays the in life version of Florida, and that went viral. And you
Mhm.
get some new followers and you get a little more numbers, but it's all about kind of manipulating the algorithm.
Okay.
But once you start, like right at the beginning, you really have to like start like in it and be like kind of dedicated to it just so you can start finding the right people because the algorithm is insanely impressive. I will give them that. I find a lot of musicians and I find a lot of photographers, and that's what my For You page is for Bar Buddies. And
Okay.
that is my way to connect with them. Or just even like get tips or be like, like concert photographers, they're like, oh, like, are you dating somebody in the band? And we're like, no, we're here to work. And I was like, ah, ha, ha, me too. Like, I'm just here to make my coin and leave. Get that
Yeah.
bread, get that head, and leave. But I think TikTok, like everybody has their reservations. I think about starting new, but TikTok you can make up to a minute. And
Okay.
Reels, I think you can do up to 30 seconds now.
Right. You can only do 30. And I like did some more research about TikTok and about like you can like there's a lot of ways you can edit videos. There's like different effects and um like stuff you can't find on like other video apps. Like I think it's called InShot and Premiere or Adobe Rush, like those type of stuff. So
Yeah.
like I was just thinking about it. I don't know, like I'm still like kind of on the fence because I'm like, do I want to get invested in this? Do I want to, like what kind of videos do I want to make? And I have video ideas, but I just don't think me being an anxious
Yeah.
22-year-old, I'm like, I don't know if this is going to work out.
I think of my TikTok as like and my reels separate from the like it's still part of Bar Buddies, but it's separate from the content I produce.
Right.
It's a way for people to get to know me. So I've been posting TikTok every time I finish a season of Criminal Minds because that's where I'm at as an adult, right? And so I'm doing that, and then sometimes I'll make a TikTok about George, or I'll make one about my brother. Like one of our more recent ones that I thought was really funny was the scene from the Simpsons movie when they talk about the new Grand Canyon.
Oh yeah.
Because Tom Hanks was hosting the inauguration special or whatever. So doing stuff like that, that gets to show people who I am and what kind of content you can expect from me. But it's in a no pressure type of way. Like it's just honestly for me stuff that I like to do to be funny. Like I haven't learned a goddamn TikTok dance yet. I should, because I kind of know you do the renegade like that or something.
I can't.
I
I
know.
don't know. I want to learn how to do that. I think one of my friends taught me how to do it, and then quarantine
Yeah,
happened.
I want to be able to do the Space Girl one. I just haven't gotten around to it. But yeah, and the fun thing about TikTok too is that you can just film a bunch of stuff at once, and then keep it in your drafts and kind of alternate content. So if I'm like in a burst, sometimes I'll be like, oh, like I can do this, and then da 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 da, and then I can just intersperse that. But I tend to use Adobe Premiere or like the mobile version when I'm editing something specific, like to a specific track. So like I just did the ups and downs to bipolar. So what that looks like for me. So like the ups was to somebody was like, how they were doing like Ratatouille the musical?
Mm-hmm.
So somebody was like, what if you do Up the musical, and here is the song that I wrote for,
Oh, how interesting.
right? So I did that for the ups, and then somebody was like, here's the reprise of After Ellie Dies, and I did that for the downs, and that was something that I did. So it's kind of like I wasn't like big on Vine, but I got into my video editing niche through Vine that way. So
Right.
I don't know. I think TikTok can be beneficial just for like connecting with other, people.
Right.
But it's honestly I like it. But it's I can tell you it's not for everybody. But sometimes you find
Right.
really funny things on there.
Right. One of my really good friends and my housemate, it's so funny because every day she gets so mad at me because she has to download the TikTok and send it over to
You
me.
can just send the link. That's what I do to my brother. I just send him the link.
And it's like so funny because she's always like, you should just get a TikTok. Get a TikTok. You won't regret it. You'll find funny stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but I have my reservations about
But
it.
that's how it is for everybody. I think especially on a video platform,
Right.
because I always have my reservations about YouTube because whatever, but then I go to like TikTok and everyone's like, the Chinese are gonna steal your information, but they're not gonna steal our information. And I was like,
Right.
plus, Facebook already sold all my information to the Russians anyways. So
Hell yeah. Facebook is not any better in regard to privacy and stuff like that.
what do they know that I don't already know? Like they probably know
Right.
more about me than I know.
I know they probably know my birth chart.
I still don't know how to read a birth chart.
Neither do I.
I'm working on it though. One of the books that I have will teach me how to do that. But yeah, I don't know how to read a birth chart. But when I tell people my I think they call it the big three, which is your sun, moon, and rising. So your sun is what? So your sun would be a Pisces, and then your moon is how you I think handle your emotions maybe, and then your rising is like how you present based off your birth chart. So like I'm a Pisces sun, I'm an Aries moon, and I'm a Scorpio rising, so I'm a wise dumbass. Which makes sense. It's very on brand for Jen.
Mm-hmm.
Tears of My Enemies is also very on brand for Jen.
What I think, you know what? I think Snapchat did something with like a birth chart.
They did.
I
They.
think so. Like I just like I looked at it one time and I'm like,
I was like,
what? Let me see.
Snapchat's trying to hold on.
They really are.
I
They're like
bear.
holding by a thread right now.
The only thing that I use on Snapchat is like my private story, but I don't do
Right.
I don't do streaks. I'm not like these young kids anymore. Like my brother finally got a Snapchat and he does streaks, and I was like, I'm not like these young kids. I'm old.
You're like, I'm old. So apparently my moon is in Virgo.
Okay. I don't know what that.
So
I wish I knew what that meant, but
yeah, cause I know my brother, he's a Virgo, like his rising sun, something like that. He's a Virgo, but my moon is in Virgo. And I'm not going to go into it because I don't want people analyzing me. I want to be able to analyze myself.
yeah, I mean it is helpful. I think that like if you believe in the stars, as Nolan likes to say, what did the stars say about me? And I said the stars called you a bitch.
Ooh, snaps to that. That's really good. I love that.
I
Wait, is
love
that a quote?
no. I mean I said it on live on air to Nolan one time, but I only I can bully Nolan. Are you listening, watchers of this video? Only I can bully Nolan. You all have to leave him alone.
I don't know who Nolan is, but I
Nolan
won't bully him.
Nolan he was my right hand man during web staff, and he had a
Okay.
show on Black Square Radio called Title Basis, and he was the programming director last semester. But now he's like doing an internship, so But we're in a group chat called the Chaos Bunch, which is
I love
me,
that.
him, Rory, and then Julia Kelch, and it's very chaotic, and I love it so much.
You know, something that I have to confess, and I'm so sorry, I still have yet to edit our ghost photo shoot
That's
back in
okay.
October.
That's okay.
I
Honestly,
felt so bad. I'm like, I hope Jen. I just like I don't want to make enemies, and I'm like, oh my
no.
gosh, like I feel so bad. I did not edit those photos, and
I'm
life
gonna
just got crazy.
I'm gonna tell you. Here's my confession. I still haven't edited video like these type of things that I have had on my computer since July, and I still haven't touched my concert photos since right before the pandemic.
That's okay, because, I mean, this pandemic literally threw a wrench into productivity, for sure.
Yeah. Well, so here was my plan. My plan was I was going to I had basically a show every night for spring break.
Hmm.
And Ryan was coming into town that weekend, his band was playing a gig, and I was like, okay, so while they're doing their thing, I'm going to go do my thing. And then the pandemic happened. And I was like, but if I can do all of these things, then I think I can actually I had been going back and forth about dropping out of school since like for a while anyways. So then
Yeah.
I was like, oh, if I can do this, then I can make this like a career. Like I could get paid for this instead of doing this, unpaid, because I love it. It's my niche. I'm really, really good at it.
Yeah,
And
no, you are really good at it. You're
the
very talented in
the
it.
thought of having to reteach myself how to edit and take those types of photos again make me want to physically vomit. But
Yeah.
like that industry is like it's very wobbly. So that's why I'm doing this, because I want to talk to people in case nobody gets to play shows ever again.
Yeah, I don't know. Where do you see that going post pandemic? If there ever is a post pandemic, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Post pandemic, I definitely think the rise of like virtual experiences are gonna be something. I know a lot of artists have done, like AJR and We3. They've done virtual concerts. They perform, and there's nobody there. but I think that's definitely going to take a rise. But I think a lot of small venues that book a lot of the bands that I know and I'm friends with or I want to see, I think they're the ones that are really in danger of closing. Because like
Yeah.
House of Blues, that's a franchise. I doubt that they'd close anytime soon. They might lay off a bunch of people, but I doubt that they'd close because they still have the restaurant. But or the Q, I mean, that's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. But places like Mayhall's, the Grog Shop, those really small places, those are the ones that I'm the most worried about.
Yeah.
But hopefully, fingers are crossed. I think people will be a little more cautious. But then it also takes away. But then again, it also takes away that aspect of everybody having a collective experience.
Right.
Pressed up against the barricade. Everybody's kind of sweaty. I don't know. I miss it.
Yeah, I feel it. I miss traveling. Like I was talking with one of my friends about, traveling post-pandemic, and I feel like I'm kind of torn because I feel like there's going to be like a lack of travel or there's going to be a big like boost of traveling.
Yeah.
I know for me, I'm going to buy a one-way ticket and just get out of here.
Get the hell out of
But
Dodge. I don't blame you. I do not blame you. I just have really bad travel anxiety, so my ass is planted in Ohio for a hot minute.
I definitely want to take a road trip. At least my mom and I were planning a road trip to go out west, but I think she was like, "Never mind, I don't want to go."
Well, I'll tell you what. My dad and I went on a road trip in October, and it's hereby dubbed the Great 2020 Speed Run because the goal was we were going to go from Ohio to our first like big stop, main stop was going to be North Dakota, and then my dad wanted to go to Oklahoma and then back to Ohio in like 5 days. And we were going to make stops along the way. It was going to be a speed run. However, because all of the states that we needed to get from North Dakota down to Oklahoma and back were like kind of like stonewalled, we just went to Chicago and then Metropolis and then Nashville, Memphis, Mount Juliet, and then home. So we spent a lot of time.
So that was that was literally that's like 90 degrees.
Yeah, it was like I got to go to Old Friends Senior Dog Sanctuary, so it was really fun.
Nice.
Didn't get to see a lot, but it was really, really fun. So
were a lot of the did you go to quite a bit of attractions? Were there a lot of people there? Were they open?
Most places were open. We went to Sun Studios, which is where Elvis was discovered.
Okay.
And we got a really cool tour. Oh, my camera stopped. Hold on. She likes to do this thing where she says she's charged, but she's not. Come on, baby.
It says Imaging Edge Webcam.
Yeah. So this is what I mean. She's probably going to die again, though. There she is.
Love that camera, though. I'm obsessed with it.
So we went to, which was where Elvis was discovered, and then we got a really cool tour, and we made I make friends everywhere. So one of the guys there, he had an album. It was called Folk Beef, and I was talking to him because I was like, I like the name of that, and he gave it to me for free, and I was like, oh my god, thank you.
Nice.
And then we went to Stax Records, which is a lot of where Motown was. And then that wasn't really, because we went kind of early in the morning. So we did Sun Studios at their last tour, and then we did Stax at their first tour. And then everywhere else we're just exploring, so we were kind of just staying away from the edge. But I got some really, really good Italian food in Nashville. Yeah, we were in Nashville. It was so good. Because they do everything on their menu can be done gluten-free in a gluten-free, safe.
Nice. That's awesome.
I had my first cannoli in 5 years, and it was, I cried. I cried in the restaurant, and they got 100% tip. I was like, I cried in the restaurant. It was beautiful. It was a soul-catching moment. It was kind of the same. It wasn't quite the same, experience because I just had my first Oreo in 5 years. But,
Yeah, because they made a gluten-free Oreo.
It's so good. Please, gluten-free Oreos, sponsor me.
Yes, sponsor Jen. She deserves it.
Sponsor me. I did have a couple of questions I had prepared for the interview, but I do want to ask about your V8 story before I
My
forget.
V8 story.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of forgot about it, but I was basically like, I was just thinking about VA all the time for like the whole day the other day. And I'm like, I really want a V8. I really want a V8. Oh, I really want a V8.
It happens to me too. Like, but sometimes with Buffalo Wild Wings.
You know, I have you ever had Donato's before? Donato's pizza. It's more
A
Columbus based.
long, long time ago. There used to be one in town, actually. There's not one anymore, but there used to be one.
It's Columbus. Like the people like are from Columbus and they own it. There's a lot of franchises here. I haven't been to one in like 5 years, I think. But they have really good mild wings and blue cheese dressing. And there's like times where I have like that specific craving. And then there's like another time. So my housemate's Malaysian, and uh, she has a family friend that lives in Akron, and she comes over and brings traditional Malaysian food. And there's this thing called nasi lemak, and it translates to fat rice, and it's just so good. And there's times where I literally text my housemate and I'm like, can you ask Auntie Mona if she can bring it over? I can pay her. I just really want nasi lemak right now. And it's so specific too.
DoorDash really has not helped the situation because I can get a bunch of wings. I don't have to leave the house. The wings can come to me. So I did wings twice. I did Dairy Queen twice. I did McDonald's once. That's on the low, though. I'm not supposed to be eating McDonald's, but I did because I had a dream. I ate McDonald's yesterday because I had a dream last night or the night before about a Big Mac, and I couldn't stop thinking about it.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, they're on DoorDash, and I still don't have any delivery fees, so I might as well. So I got it, and then I did not feel good for the rest of the day, but
Yeah.
it was worth it. It was worth it.
It was worth it.
Because now it's gone. Now the craving is gone, and I can move on with my life. And the camera disappears one more time. Change video settings. Haha.
Hello.
Hello. You can kind of see my super messy room now.
That's okay. Nothing wrong with that.
My podcast.
I am, like, this might be TMI, so I don't know if you want to cut it.
Oh no. I'll decide later.
Okay. Well, well, whenever I have my period, when I have like those period cravings, it's always McDonald's, and it's always a McDonald's fish fillet. And I think I love their fish fillet. Like, that's like the only fish sandwich that I will eat. And I'm like, damn, I really want a fish fillet right now.
Quarter pounder with cheese. That was mine. It was a quarter pounder with cheese, or like a cheeseburger or hamburger.
Right.
That used to be mine. When I first started getting my period, and I was like, I think like 11 or 12, whenever girls start first getting their period or whatever.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I want this with the like pickles. And then that's how I know that when my period's coming, because I start craving these foods that I normally wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
That I was like, this one's going to be a bad one, because I have this insane craving for Buffalo Wild Wings that I can just eat an entire serving. Because I don't eat a lot, because I am a grazer, and that's just how I am by nature. But if I am like, oh my God, I have a craving for Buffalo Wild Wings and I'm going to eat everything in one sitting, I was like, my period is coming. That's how I know.
Right. There's sometimes too, like, because like, I mean, I've traveled and like I've had like really good food, and there's just sometimes I just get these cravings for food that I cannot have because it's 6,000 miles away.
I said, I'm going to drive back to Tennessee and I'm going to get that chicken parm and that 4-cheese mac, and oh, it was so good. I think about it. I dream about it. I'd marry it, to be honest.
I know. I hate having cravings, and I'm just like, it's just the worst. I'm just like, quit tricking. Like, it's your stomach like tricking you, and it's just like, knock it off. Like, I don't need this right now, but I want it.
I said, get it together. But speaking of traveling, you are a travel photographer. Ooh, and
yes,
you also do
kind of.
Well, you were, and now you do all sorts of fun stuff, photography-wise.
I'm a broad photographer. That's what I call myself, a broad photographer.
A broad photographer. So, I've been building our family archive. I'm going through all these photos that we found, and I'm building an archive, and I can recognize my very early works, which is my dad holding all of my Care Bears. And, you know, that was probably, I was like 5 or something with the camera, and I'm being like, ta-da. So when did you start getting into photography? Like, when was...
I think I've always loved, like, photography in general. Like, you know, my mom had, like, bins, like, I think 10 bins of film and photos and stuff from, like, when my grandpa and his family came over from Italy. And, I guess she's just kind of collected that over time. But when I really got into photography, I think it was, like, when I knew I wanted to be a photographer, I'll start there, was when my mom came home with a magazine, and it was Life magazine. Was it Life? Yes, it was Life. I think they're discontinued now. But they had a whole, like, 100-page spread of, it was like 100 heavenly places on earth. And it just, like, you went through the magazine, and it was just, like, all these beautiful places, like the Grand Canyon, some places like in the Scandinavian area where you can see the northern lights, and it was just beautiful. And they would have, like, a little caption, like, at each photo, and I was like, I want to do that. And I, like, told my grandma, and she was like, go for it. And then, like, several years later, I got my first camera. I started practicing with it, and then and then that's when I went to Ecuador for, like, my first, like, study abroad experience, I guess, like, because basically, like, when my mom was younger, they had a host. They hosted a girl. Her name's Belen from Ecuador, and we've kept in really good contact with Belen and her family. And I was learning Spanish at the time when I was 16, and they're like, "Yeah, come down. Like, we'll host you." And so I went down to Ecuador when I was 16, and that was when I had my first camera, and I just started taking photos, and a lot of them were very bad, and I overexposed a lot of them, and I think just the passion just kind of grew from there. And I practiced a lot, so traveled more, that kind of stuff.
What was your first camera?
It was a Canon Rebel T3i. I had that thing for
That's what I got. That's what I got trained
5
on.
years.
Was a T3i. My first camera was actually my dad's, and it was a Nikon D something.
Mm-hmm.
But I went, like, you're self-taught, I would assume.
Yeah.
I
Well, I
went.
mean, I took classes, but
Yeah.
I feel like with photography, you have to self-teach yourself.
Yeah. Well, because I went to vocational school,
Mm-hmm.
and for media, so I kind of did a little bit of everything, and I got trained on a T3i. That's what I learned everything on. So I was like, not to flex,
Good
but
camera.
it is a good camera. It served me very well. I have a T6 now. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
my DSLR is a T6, and then I have my Sony, and then I got a little instant camera that looks like one of those vintage ones.
Yes, I love those.
The body, surprisingly cheap. The film, not so cheap.
Really expensive. Yeah, film's really expensive. I remember in my photography class we learned film photography, and it got to the point where for our assignments we had to buy our own film.
Yeah, it's like
And it was because they don't do black and white film anymore. I mean, they do, but it's not as common. And that's, like, the most expensive of the film. Because
yeah.
with color film, I mean, you can get that processed at, like, a CVS or Walgreens, and you're A-okay. But black and white, they don't have the solution or chemicals for it.
Yeah, I did just find 2 disposable cameras. I know that they're done. I have no idea what's on them. I have no idea how long they've been in the house. That is something that'll be a fun little unboxing vid. Be like,
Yeah,
what's on
that'll be
these?
fun.
But how did you decide that you wanted to, take something that was your hobby and make it a business?
That's a good question. I think, like, when I first started, like, taking photos for people, like, they're, like, senior photos, and then I don't know, I like started following some people on Instagram that made photography their full-time job. And I was just kind of like, I mean, I'm like, it, because I was thinking like, oh, this is only going to be a hobby. I'm only going to make it a hobby. And then when I just started seeing people making it into a business, I kind of felt inspired by that. And then now this is something that, long term, maybe within 10 years, even 5, that I would love to make it like a full-time thing and make it my main source of income. But with the photography industry, I feel like it is like I feel like it is overly saturated. I think it's like it's kind of sad, to be honest, because like I feel like coming from me, where I had to learn, I had to make mistakes. I still make mistakes, and I'm still learning. And people can pick this up and claim that, just by taking, like, even if it's just like a point and shoot.
Yeah.
But people can be very, like, I follow a photographer on Instagram who uses his phone camera, and he's amazing. He takes beautiful photos because he has the eye for it. He's the artist behind it. Meanwhile, I do see like some content creators who are like, oh, let's pose and have your camera like, or have your phone like this, or like this, or like this, and
Yeah.
they just take photos.
Well,
And
that's how I originally felt when the iPhone first started kind of doing, like, just stopped going from like crap photos to like, oh, you have 3 cameras, because I was like, what? You mean I went to vocational school? I got to learn. Like, I had to learn. I had to like, you know how many panic attacks I had at night just being like, what if I'm not good enough? Like, will I get this
Right.
assignment done? Like, the sheer imposter syndrome that I had was intense. And then,
you invested a lot of time into learning
right,
too.
but which was really funny. So when I was in high school, Scholastics does a fair, like an art fair, and I was in a photos class, and they were like, Jen, you really should submit your pieces. And I was like, oh, okay, because this was before I had a DSLR. So when I went on my trip to Savannah, I took all of my, it was with my iPhone, which wasn't a problem because I had known how to do proper exposure and whatnot. And all of the photos that went to state were from my iPhone, and nobody could tell the difference.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, that made me feel good, but it didn't make me feel amazing because I did it with my iPhone.
Right.
And I've never been able to recreate it since, so.
Yeah, I mean, like, I know now in like photography classes, they, especially now because of the pandemic and cameras are pretty pricey, um, they just have them use their iPhone. And people, if you have that creativity in you and you want to be a creative, like, you're gonna, I mean, using a phone, like, it's a tool. Using a camera, that's a tool. It's behind the camera that is the creative, that is the mastermind. Um, and I mean, I don't think, what am I trying to say? Like, I have nothing wrong with the phone camera because, like I said, like, I know people who do make amazing work, but at the same time, I just get frustrated kind of looking at the people who, take a really nice, like, they take like a standard photo and put like a nice preset on it and claim that they're a photographer. I think that's where I kind of get my frustration from, not the people who not that they use the phone camera and they use their creativity to make something amazing, versus the people that, just for instance, like, I could just take a photo of you and slap like a nice preset.
Yeah. I just recently got into Lightroom because I'd only ever used Photoshop. That's what my certificate was in. But I've been getting into Lightroom and like presets and stuff. And that's a whole nother beast.
What do you think about Lightroom so far?
I really like it. I like it a lot better. I do like the presets. Sometimes they don't always work because when you put them on the iPhone photos, sometimes they don't look that good. I'm gonna be honest. But other times it's like, well, it looks all right. So I have only ever paid for one bundle, and it was a concert photo bundle, but I haven't had a chance to like test that out yet with some of my older photos. But other than that, like, I think it's definitely much better than Photoshop in my opinion, but I see why a lot of people
Yeah,
use it.
I really like Lightroom, especially like if I'm making like minor adjustments and like just changing kind of like not the mood per se, but if I want it to be like a more warmer photo or a cooler photo, I love using Lightroom for that. And then with Photoshop, I feel like Photoshop, in my perception at least, like I see it more as like a creative way to showcase a photo. Meanwhile, Lightroom is more kind of your standard, your basics, and you can be creative there, but I think with Photoshop, you can, you know, your possibilities are endless.
The way that I've always done photography, I rarely shoot in RAW when I'm on the job, like especially at concerts because it just takes too long. Like
Mhm.
especially because concerts are so blink and you'll miss it. That I treat everything like it's film. So, I tend to not want to have to edit it if I don't have to. Like other
Right.
than enhance what's already there, like I don't want to have to edit. And I think that is an interesting way because I know a lot of people don't shoot that way.
Yeah, that's actually your way is kind of the
I'm like an old man.
it's not I actually know some people that shoot the way that you do because they see it as they kind of see digital as like an extension of film, and they want, because with film you have to get your settings correct to get that perfect photo, and they compare film with JPEG
Yeah,
because with a JPEG,
you can't do anything
if
with it.
you screw up, you can't fix it.
Yeah, that's
And
how that's how I've always operated. But my Google Home just went off to tell me it's 2 p.m. and to relax my shoulders. So I shall do that. She knows I'm tense. Oh, everybody relax your shoulders in case you're tense listening to this.
I'm like slouched in my bed right now.
It's okay. My bed's right here. I got a new bed frame and I put risers on it, so it's about the same height as if you half lofted in Olson.
Oh, nice.
So I hit my knee on it a lot.
Oh no.
And I'm just like, Michael, my brother was like, oh, this is so tall. And I was like, it's literally just a little bit shorter than if I had half lofted in Olson. Like, and you'd been in my dorm. So,
So like in my dorm, when I was there for 2.5 years, so my bed was not half lofted. Like it was like 3/4
yeah,
lofted.
yours was tall, which
Yeah,
I commend you for because I couldn't do it.
I had to use the desk chair to launch me off or lunge me off my bed. It was useful though. I mean, I was able to store everything. I afforded a lot more room. I was able to put a lot of stuff. Um, yeah, like my parents really, they know how to cram stuff and manipulate a space.
Yeah,
I
Tetris.
appreciate their efforts.
I don't know if it's like an Italian mom thing, but like my mom, she is very good at like space Tetris. Like if we're going somewhere and we have to get everything in the car, she can get it all in the car.
Oh
Like,
yeah, my mom was like that too.
okay, I'm glad that it's not just my mom. I think it might be an Italian mom thing.
I feel like it is an Italian mom thing because I'm starting to be like this too, where I'm like, I know how to play like
Just
Tetris
yep.
and or Jenga or whatever, and I'm just like, oh no, am I becoming a mom? And like, I'm literally like, there's things where what I'm doing where I'm just like, this is freaking me out because like I'm at home and my brother, he's kind of like struggling with school right now. So I'm like trying to help him like stay organized and planning. My little account executive self, having my little spreadsheet. and um and I was like texting my friends about it because they're like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And they're like, "You're such a mom." And then like apparently my car is like mom like. It's just a Chevy Equinox, and I'm like, I don't. It's not a minivan, and I hope, knock on wood, I will never ever ever have to drive a minivan. I just like I can't. I can't.
I embraced the minivan when I drove for that brief period. I embraced the minivan. Her name was
Can you
Bertha.
embrace the
Her
minivan?
name was Bertha, and I loved her very much. She is no longer with us. May she rest in peace.
Oh, rest in
R.I.P.
peace.
So now we have a new one. It's just not the same. because Bertha was with us for a lot. She was like the first car that I remember us like going out to buy. So she had been with us for a while, and then
How
her
many miles did she have on it?
a lot. It was a new car too. It was a lot of miles. Like the only reason why we didn't keep we had to get her towed was because her brake pads there weren't my dad hit the brakes and it just went all the way down, and she was so rusted that underneath that they just couldn't lift her up on the lift anymore because it was like a 2005 Dodge Caravan, and every other I know it's specifically that model because every other model I've seen like that has the exact same rust patterns underneath. It was just, may she rest in peace. I miss Miss Bertha.
Yeah, my car now, we got it used, and it had 100,000 miles on it. Like it was already it was already up there, and I put an additional 40, so it has 140,000 miles, and um, yeah, I'm like a little nervous about it because I mean it took me about 2.5 years to get to that point.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, oh no, am I gonna have to like get a new car soon? And plus, like we've had to put a lot of money into it because there's a lot of issues with my car. Like the transmission blew up one time. Yeah,
I don't know much about cars, so
neither do I.
but Bertha went when we used to take vacations and go traveling, we always drove. At least at the beginning, we always drove in the minivan.
Right.
So, she had a lot of miles. Like we did, I think the farthest we went with her was like Texas and back.
Wow, that's a long drive.
And we did Florida too.
Those are all long drives.
Yes, they are. And I think Williamsburg maybe, because we go. Sometimes we do fun things, but most of the time we go to a historical landmark, and that's vacations. But the last vacation we went on was right after I started my job at Kent, and we went to the Boy Scout World Jamboree.
Oh, nice.
It was not fun for me, but
I remember when my brother did Boy Scouts, like he did it for like a minute, and he had like that derby box race thing, like
the
the
Pinewood
small.
Derby,
Yeah.
I'm familiar.
Yeah.
I'm familiar. My brother just got his Eagle Scout, so he's
Oh,
at
that's
the.
awesome.
Yeah, I know. But yeah,
Congrats, people.
I'm very familiar with the Pinewood Derby because we watched a movie about the Pinewood Derby, a made-for-TV movie where the entire plot is about a Boy Scout Pinewood Derby. So
Wow.
I think we still have it somewhere in the house. Maybe I'll watch it.
Yeah, but he did that. Like my brother and my dad worked on the derby and stuff like that, and I remember like it was like a 3 hour long event of just racing.
I was an announcer. It was really fun.
You're an announcer.
It was really fun.
Awesome.
I was like, and coming in at number 6, we have Michael Noga. Dun 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 dun. And you play the fanfare, which was it was just me dicking around because I had to be there. And then we got to have like walking tacos. So it was like the chips and the.
Oh yeah, walking. That's like the. Oh my gosh, like that's like the youth group slash like. Youth group necessity or delicacy.
Yeah, I think I might make some. I'm gonna write that down. Walking tacos dinner. Walking tacos for dinner? Question mark. So my last question on my list is about advice, right? So.
Oh, am I the best person for that?
So it can be advice that you would give to a creative or just general advice that you've picked up or it could be the best advice that you've ever gotten.
Okay, I kind of have a few.
Go.
They're kind of like tough love, so people may like get offended by it. I don't care. But for creatives, especially like photographers, like if you have like a client conflict or like a client problem, 95% it's probably your fault. And it's because maybe you didn't communicate it correctly or you under delivered and stuff like that, because essentially, like, if you are performing a service for a client, and that's like what you want to do, that's your occupation, um you have to make sure you list all your expectations, list everything that could go, like, basically, like, anything that the client has questions on. And if you don't have that listed and something comes up, it's probably your fault. But at the same time, like, if the client is being a dick, like, don't, like, that's not your fault. I've had that happen, and but a lot of the time I just, like, felt like I was, like, trying to justify the, like, why I'm, like, the victim, why I'm, like, not at fault and they're at fault. And then, like, I watched this this, like, Instagram IGTV with, like, a really big photographer, and that's, like, the first thing she said. She said, 95% it is your fault because you didn't list out your expectations clearly, you underdelivered, or you did not meet the client's expectations. And I think that's, like, that kind of gave me, like, a dose of reality and a slap in the face, because, like, I kind of justified why I'm not at fault, and it made me look at my business a little bit differently, because I say that it's customer centric, but do I actually make it customer centric? And then, like, another piece of advice is probably, like, know your value, know your worth. Like, don't take on jobs that you feel like you're not going to get anything out of it, or you feel like they're going to scam you. And, like, and that also kind of goes into, like, I'm trying to reframe or position myself differently, because when people look at me, they look at me as, like, oh, that's Sophia with the fancy camera, and not Sophia, that's the professional photographer who took my, engagement photos. And, and that took me a long time to, like, learn, because I didn't look at myself, like, as, like, a professional photographer. I looked at myself as, like, like, a yes ma'am. I want to make people happy, and I want to, like, create stories and things like that. But I never, like, sat down and said, no, you are a professional photographer. You have the expertise, and it's just knowing your value and not being insecure about your value. I hope that all, like, makes sense.
Yeah, that does. So, as they say on Hot Ones, as we conclude, if you have anything to plug, you can pick either this camera, or this camera, and tell the people what you have going on, or anything you want to plug.
Like, see, I'm not hip. I'm not.
So basically, if you want, you can talk about your photography. Be like, hey, hire me for photos. Here's my Instagram.
Plug me in.
Yeah, like anything you got going on. Need work.
I do have, like, a project I want to work on. I'm, like, still trying to finalize, like, details and stuff like that. But it's like, oh, I don't even know if I want to say it, because I'm just scared that someone might steal it.
Okay, keep that. We'll keep that. We'll talk about it after we're done recording. But
Okay.
Maybe, like, plug your Instagram or your business. Tell the people.
It is at Sophia Adornetto Photo. My business is Sophia Adornetto Photography, www.sophiaadornetto.com. I'm the first Google, if you look up my name, I'm the first Google search. So SEO is doing absolutely fantastic there. Yeah, I'm always here willing to help. I love photographing people. I love documenting stories. I love, making people happy, because that's just who I am. So
You make me happy.
you make me happy.
Oh, I'm
Listen,
gonna blush
the
again.
letters that you've given me, Jen, like, I keep them. I have them, like, in my little stack of letters, and whenever I feel down, I always read them. Those are the first letters that I read.
I'm gonna start blushing on camera again. This is the second episode in a row.
So, yes.
So, thank you. Thank you for doing this. I love you very much. If you would like to see more videos like this, remember you can subscribe to the podcast or the YouTube channel, or follow me on Twitter, Instagram at BarBuddiesPod. You can find us on TikTok at BarBuddies. BarBuddies has a website, www.barbuddies.org. And I think that's it. So I'm gonna hit the end button. Okay, stop record.
It's like Bar Buddies with the X, Sophia Adornetto. A collaboration.